whose research focuses on independent workers and how labor markets evolve. Thank you for being with us. Doctor, you have 5 minutes for your opening remarks.
Good afternoon, Chairman Banks, Ranking Member Liebert, and members of the subcommittee. It is an honor to testify before you. My name is Leah Poliak. I'm a labor economist and director of the Labor Policy Project at the Mercator Center at George Mason University, where my research examines the changing nature of work and how policy can help build a resilient labor market. Let me start with the most fundamental point. The early evidence does not yet show broad AI-driven employment loss. Much of the public debate asks whether AI will take jobs, but economists think of jobs as a bundle of tasks. So automating one task doesn't mean the whole job disappears. AI can automate some tasks, augment others, raise productivity, and change how firms organize production. Recent studies find little noticeable change in employment, unemployment, earnings, or hours at AI-adopting workplaces. According to a Census Bureau survey, about 95% of AI-using firms report no change in total employment. That does not mean nothing is happening. It means the adjustment is more complicated than a simple story of mass displacement. The clearest evidence of potential concern is concentrated among young workers entering highly exposed occupations. Recent research finds employment declining for young workers in the most AI-exposed fields without a matching rise in unemployment, a pattern more consistent with slower hiring than with layoffs. This can be a serious concern. However, the evidence is still mixed. According to research from the Economic Innovation Group, hiring in many highly exposed occupations actually began declining in the spring of 2022, so 6 to 8 months before ChatGPT even existed. Employment outcomes have also weakened among young workers with little AI exposure at all, including teenagers working mostly in food service and retail. The broader pattern points towards macroeconomic factors as much as AI. So the right conclusion is not that AI is irrelevant. It is that the picture is still mixed, and to the extent employment effects exist so far, they look like a slower hiring pipeline for younger workers, not layoffs. This brings me to my second main point about measurement. Federal labor market statistics are valuable, but they were built for an earlier economy. Household surveys can tell us whether someone is employed and what occupation they hold, but not how AI is changing tasks within the job. Business surveys can tell us whether a firm reports using AI, and in some cases, whether it says AI affected employment, but those responses are still too coarse and are not routinely linked to hiring, separations, earnings, or occupational composition. Even the basic adoption rate depends heavily on how the question is worded. For example, when the Census Bureau broadened one survey's AI question last November, reported use jumped from 10 to 17% overnight. That was a change in measurement, not a month of sudden economic transformation. The AI Workforce Preparedness Act is a constructive response to that problem. It adds AI questions to several major federal surveys and creates a voluntary channel for AI developers to share adoption data with statistical agencies. As Congress considers further reforms, I would emphasize 3 things in particular on measurement. 1, linking business surveys answers to actual hiring and wage outcomes, so we can compare AI using and non-AI using firms directly. 2, adding occupational detail to the wage records that nearly every employer already reports, so we can see which specific jobs are growing or shrinking. And 3rd, building a timely measure of new solo independent business activity. The last point matters because of what my own research has found. Since early 2024, new business applications with no signs of hiring, near-term hiring, have risen 27% in AI-exposed sectors while essentially staying flat in less exposed sectors. Solo self-employment shows the same pattern, up 20% in the most AI-exposed occupations, unchanged in the least exposed. These results are descriptive, not causal, but they suggest that in some knowledge-intensive fields, AI may be lowering the cost of working independently rather than reducing employment overall. And this makes sense. If AI helps you do what once required a team, you may decide to go out on your own rather than needing an employer to provide that team for you. And To summarize, the evidence doesn't yet show broad job loss. Our data systems can't fully see what's happening, and independent work is growing in ways that matter for labor policy. Let me conclude by saying the central challenge is not to predict a single labor market future. It is to build institutions and measurement systems that are resilient across several possible futures. Thank you for the opportunity to testify, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. I would like to yield to Ranking Member Hickenlooper to introduce our next two guests.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, let me introduce Mr. Jonathan Liebert. He's joining us today from Colorado Springs, where he serves as the CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Southern Colorado. And I think also working as the, at least the acting CEO of the whole statewide Better Business Bureau as well. Mr. Liebert created the BBB AI Hub to increase AI literacy and capability, as well as governance and responsible use. Dr. Justin Heck is the Senior Director of Research and Data Production at Opportunity at Work, national nonprofit building a skills-first labor market. Dr. Heck has spent over a decade conducting quantitative research at the intersection of labor market analysis and public policy. Thank you both for being here and participating.
Mr. Liebert, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Banks and Ranking Member Hickenlooper and members of the subcommittee. Appreciate the opportunity to testify today on the impact of artificial intelligence on America's workforce. Again, my name is Jonathan Liebert, and I'm the CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Southern Colorado. I'm also the past chair of the Colorado Workforce Development Board, and I'm part of my local workforce board as well. And my perspective on artificial intelligence is neither pro-AI nor anti-AI. I'm cautiously optimistic. I've seen in ways that it can absolutely magnify productivity, strengthen small businesses, and expand access to expertise. I've seen it help workers become more capable. I've also seen how people can enter insensitive information into these public systems, accept fabricated information as fact, and purchase products that are marked as AI-powered without understanding truly what that technology does. Since 2025, I've trained over 5,500 business owners, employers, educators, and nonprofit leaders in Colorado and now in other parts of the country, and talking to them about how AI needs to be used ethically, responsibly, and practically. This experience has given me really a front row seat to what's going on inside of the workforce. I'm there to see the excitement, the fear, and a lot of misinformation that's surrounding this technology. Business owners really want to know which tools are a credible source of information for them to be able to use safely, and they want to make sure that they are doing things wisely, not putting their customers at risk. Nonprofit leaders want to know how they can expand their impact and their limited staff resources and level up their organizations. Educators want to know what to prepare students for, and knowing that jobs are changing fast and employers are looking for different things and what they should put into their curriculum. Workers want to know whether AI will replace them, and they want to know what will help them become more valuable workers to the workforce system. And so what I've learned is that fear often decreases when people receive practical education. The greatest problem I see is not that people are refusing to use AI at the moment. It is often that they trust it too quickly. And so I tell the folks that I teach that AI is not an oracle. AI is an ideation engine. It gives you the ability to create these templates and information, but you have to keep the human in the loop and double check everything. An oracle is an answer to be believed. An ideation engine helps generate these options, and you should challenge these assumptions. It'll help you organize information and produce that first draft. The human must remain responsible for verifying the output, adding additional context, and then absolutely making the final decision of how it's implemented. At the Better Business Bureau, we created the BBB AI Hub to help close the gap between the speed of technological change and the ability of people and organizations to respond quickly. BBB is interested in making sure that trust and ethics are applied when using this technology. And again, as our mission and vision state, we're interested in marketplace trust. If buyers and sellers don't trust one another because of the way the technology is being used, then that has economic implications for all of us.